Fartlek day. It's terrible. Fartleks are interval training applied to running. It's about 5:45 in the morning or so. We're going to do between 2 and 3 miles where we're going to vary our pace. So we do low interval for a minute, upper interval for half a minute, low interval minute, upper interval minute, low interval a minute, upper interval minute 30, go all the way up to 2, 2:30, maybe 3, maybe 3:30. We'll see. But this workout should suck the whole time. That's the goal. Yeah, it's all about spiking our heart rate and then seeing if we can recover on the low intervals. So we got 8 seconds till we kick it up. 2, 1, back. Now, this run isn't about perfect form. It's definitely not about distance. It's about the spike. These are my messy runs. And what I mean by that is, like, I typically try to lift and run with good form. I'm not always perfect at it, naturally. But on these days in particular, it's like, let's just hit it. All right, bring it down. Breathe and recover. I'm a minute 40 into this, and I was like, shit, this is a stupid idea. We're sore. We're tired. It's early. It's cold. Let's just go back to the car. We'll work out tonight, which we definitely know is a lie. It's always a lie. We can't pass on progress to future Joe. So mellow. 15 more seconds. We're doing good, friends. But every time we spike the heart rate, it just sucks. Yeah. 5 more seconds. Alright, so we're kicking it up. Upper interval. This one we're going to hold out for about a minute. So we started at 2:30. We're going to run until 3:30. At least that's the goal. But how's everybody doing? This is fun, isn't it? I just wish I had my Walter Goggins glasses. So when I run, I try to brace my core, lean forward slightly, and focus more on kicking behind me. Got 5 seconds. Bring it down. Nice and mellow. So, we gotta recover. I feel tricked, okay, because it said 50 degrees outside, but it feels chilly. Maybe I'm just running too fast. But I also dressed lighter. That was a mistake. I don't have gloves. That was a mistake. But we don't have time to go back, so the only path forward is through. We got 15 seconds, low interval, and then we will kick it up again. Oh, this is miserable. Shoot. All right, let's go. So we're at 4:30. This interval is a minute 30. So that'll put us at 5. 6 minutes is the target to hold and sustain this. And we'll see. We gotta push. And this is something where I've done this routine hundreds of times and I still hate it. every single week. I hate it. But it's so good for me because Fridays are the hell days. Folks be going easy on Friday. Instead we're like, but what if it was bad? Got about 26 more seconds here. See if we can hold it. Keep pushing. Push, push, push. Got a nice sleeping baby this morning. Oh, it's beautiful. Got 9 more seconds, y'all. Push, push. Hey, slow. Yo! Low and slow. I need to hit a magic button. Where are you? We are in Chicago. What kind of engineer are you? That is the master question. So, all them engineers. I started as a mechanical engineer at the University of Illinois. Ended up working at Johnson & Johnson for a decade, advancing surgical robotics for like different cancer procedures. I could talk about robots and surgery all day. And while there, I worked as a design engineer on making new devices, and then a robotics controls engineer on bringing these robotic tools to life. And then I worked as a systems engineer, integrating across robotic tools, hardware, software, users, pretty wild stuff. Shoot, supposed to run. This one's a 2-minute interval. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Push! And after about 7 years at J&J, I had the opportunity to relocate to Tokyo with my family in order to connect with Japanese clinicians. So I traveled the region, attended tons of surgeries, did lots of marketing interviews to try to figure out what do Japanese clinicians really need. And then I directed an ecosystem of engineers to develop new technologies on their behalf. So I had members in China, South Korea, Japan, and US working on it. And they were cross-functional, which is awesome. Now, friends, we're doing Fartlek training today. So we're hitting high and low intervals. So in the high intervals, which is right now, we have 50 seconds of it left. It's hard for me to read chat because y'all bounce around too much. So I normally ramble during the hard stuff. And then during the light rests, I can recover enough to read. But again, use the lights. Got 20 seconds to push. The whole goal of this workout is heart rate spikes and then settling into our breathing and increasing the upper interval intensity. Little, high, little. 3, 2, 1. Let's see true. Nuclear engineering degree. How's a nuclear engineering degree sound in 2025? There's a market for it. The problem with that, as well as with any degree, is like you have to figure out where you want to live and what you want to do. And the reason I share that is like, if you always grew up in the same hometown and you want to be back home, you need to pick a more generalized discipline that you literally could do anywhere. So, if you go into aerospace, nuclear, you're kind of limited to going where a nuclear power plant actually is. Oh crap, that one went too fast. Alright, this one's supposed to be 2.5 minutes. upper interval, so we're gonna run out to 12:30. But I have a cousin who's a nuclear engineer. But I think he wanted to live at home. I think he was unemployed. I don't know what he's doing now. Maybe I think he might be substitute teaching in high school. I haven't talked to my cousin in a while. We're kin, but we're not that close. Push, 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 push. Get the legs under me. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, this sucks. Why are we doing this? So we gotta go to 12:30. And we're definitely in the realm of we can do this workout. We just don't want to. That's all. That's all it is. It is purely we're in the lack of desire space. Oh my God. And we're also in the long reps. So it's harder to hold it. I know you got 2 more thoughts, friend. I'm bouncing too much to be able to read it. I'm a big boy. So give me, let me check my watch, probably a minute 15 left, hopefully less than that. Oh my God. 11:40, a minute. Actually less than 50 seconds. Let's go. I mean, I can bring you really close and read it. No, I can't. Makes me dizzy. It's okay. It's building suspense. Whew, come on. Straight it out. Every step of this workout is a matter of if we want to concede to ourselves and give up. It's definitely easier to choose ease. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Bring it down. When did you realize you wanted to be an engineer? Oh, that is the question, friend. What age did you lock in? How did you push through the process? Well, propylene. I appreciate you, friend. That's a good question. I talk about it a little bit in my community on School, SKOOL. It's free, and I help engineers, global leaders, and entrepreneurs find their way. Because the journey of an engineer, it's just really disorienting, and it can be really isolating. And it's hard to know what's out there and where you can go. Whew, next in your journey, we're gassed. But the way that I became an engineer, my sophomore year of high school, I had been saving my whole life to buy my first car. Bought my first car, paid my insurance, bought my own gas. Shoot, we're supposed to kick it up. This one's 3 minutes, y'all. So we're at 13:30. We're running to 16:30. And I think at that point we'll do a light rep and then bring it on home, ladder down. But I was a sophomore in high school. I was torn between a whole bunch of majors at the time to think about. Mechanical engineering, civil engineering, psychiatry, psychology, like just a mixed bag of influence. And at like 16, how the frick are you supposed to figure out what you want to be when you grow up? Like, it's just too much pressure. I'm like, you gotta know what it is so you can find the target school to be able to go out and get that job. We are gassed, friends. So let's keep pushing it. But in high school, I had this beautiful 1994 Honda Accord. All right. It was majestic. It was teal green. I loved it. It was so old, but it was mine. I bought it for $600. It symbolized my independence, my freedom. And on the way to church one day, I was trying to change a CD, and propylene, if you're a little bit younger, a CD stands for compact disc, and it would use a laser to read different heights that were etched into the disc to play media, like an MP3. Crazy, right? Oh, push. We're so gassed. I can't even hold pace, man. But, I went to change the CD. Before I did that, the light in front of me was green. When I'd almost completed changing the CD, I looked up again and the light was red. And I totaled this beautiful, brand new yellow Audi, sports car. T-boned it. The rear wheel of the sports car was right underneath the bottom of it. And I was so afraid of the owner getting out and killing me because he was irate and yelling. I called my mom because geographically she's closer than the police. And you're like, how does this connect? Like, how is this going to make you an engineer? You'll see. Whew. Frick. This is a really bad run. I brain down. Get a minute recovery. So, I had a friend who let me park my car at his garage. He handed me a welder and said, good luck. So, I worked a part-time job next door at the neighbor lady's house, painting her whole house to save up another $500. It was a great deal for her. And I bought a new front end and a new hood from a junkyard. We're dragging today, man. Dragging. I wonder why we're so gassed. I'm not used to working out this early. All right, cut it back. This one's supposed to be 3 minutes. We're at 17:30. We're gonna try to kick and try to push, which means we gotta go to 20:30. Right on. Let's keep it high while I chat. Keep the energy. More energy, more footwork. Right? So anyway, I took apart all the pieces of torn, broken up metal off my car and disassembled all the normal looking pieces of metal on the new front end, kind of like Legos, right? And eventually I was able to get the thing to come back together. I welded on a new frame, and then the radiator on a 1994 Honda Accord is brutal to install. Like, the tubing is really tight, and if you don't know much about a radiator, it basically circulates a really conductive fluid, and it passes that fluid between these fans that cool it and the engine that heats it, and it allows you to cool your engine. It's the whole goal of it. It's really hard to put together, and after 13 attempted tries, I finally got it. And when it clicked in, when I got the hosing right, I had this beautiful epiphany. And this is where we get into like how I wanted to be an engineer. I had this beautiful epiphany. And somebody doesn't wake up one morning and decide, I'm going to go make a radiator for a 1994 Honda Accord. Rather, they look at the radiator from a 1993 Honda Accord, and they reflect upon all the good things and all the bad things about it. And then they have to work around all the other subsystems of the car and all the weight requirements and fuel efficiency. I deal with people, and people have different ideas. It's challenging. And I found that collaborative approach and that restoration of my car, that systems building kind of mentality to be beautiful. And that's what gave me discernment between civil engineering, bring it down, civil engineering, mechanical. And that put a lot in motion that eventually got me to J&J, working on surgical robotics, eventually got me to Japan, eventually led to a crazy strategic exit from Japan, or from J&J into Japan. Whew. We're gonna walk. That's okay. This whole workout is about finding the edge point of our cardio, and some days pushing past it, and some days acknowledging that we found it. So we're gonna drop into recovery walk for a little bit. So maybe we'll do recovery walks for the low interval, and then light half marathon pace for the runs. Yo, God Nemo, YouTube, how's it going? Don't talk when you're running. You're sounding way too out of breath. That's what I'm training, friend. That's the whole goal. All right, our next interval is 2.5 minutes. Frick, it's 21:30, so we've been at this for 21 minutes, friends. Oh, it never gets easier. So 21 minutes and 30 seconds plus 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Oh, let me do my engineering math over here. Got to run some calculations. That 30 minutes, 30 seconds would put us up to 22 plus 2 minutes, 24. So we're running upper interval to 24, but based on how gassed we are today, we're making the upper interval the low interval, and the low interval a walk. And then that should allow us to still spike the heart rate, which is the goal of this workout. It's to train resiliency when we're running a half marathon. We roll our ankle or we hit some stairs or a hill. We can still do our Wim Hof breaths and get back in control. But how's everybody doing today? Where are y'all viewing from? I do this quite often. I have a podcast where I run long distance. Every mile I curate my latest thoughts on engineering, global leadership, entrepreneurship, and fatherhood. That's kind of my niche. And then Wednesdays and Fridays I do lighter distance. Wednesdays it's recovery day. And then Fridays we go hard. Fridays is the worst day you can imagine. It's the fartlek, the interval. Sucks. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, we lift, bro. And then Sunday is foam rolling and beat saber and reflection upon the week. And that's the rhythm, that's the routine, and I run that consistently. Okay, we got this upper interval, which is now a lower interval. I think we have 15 more seconds, and then I can check your second thought, my friend. Let's see, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're gonna walk briskly for a minute. We're at 24 minutes. We're gonna go up to 25. But Nimbu Pani, nice to meet you. I was trying to change my name, but it wouldn't let me do it before. Okay. Well, it's nice to meet you, friend. So, one of the other reasons I run and talk, it's kind of been a surprise reason. If the goal was to run far, push myself to my edge point, and, run the fastest half marathon possible, talking and running doesn't make a lot of sense. God, Nemo was not that good. Okay. It's a big, if you want to change it to Japanese, it would be Kani no Sakama. Sakana. Kani no Sakana. Which would be like the god of fish. It's your Japanese for the day. Shoot, is it really that fast? Alright, now we have a 2-minute interval. We're at 25, so we gotta go 27. Light work. But one of the interesting perks of running and talking, I'm a content creator, but also like as an engineer and a global leader and entrepreneur, like I talk a lot more than people would think. Like, in order to succeed in engineering, there's a lot of things you need. A lot of different skills and capabilities. One of them that's highly underrated is communication. Being able to speak clearly and succinctly to tell the right story around the technology you're progressing and to help people stay captivated by it. Because if they're not captivated by it, they'll take their money and go somewhere else. And then you won't have a funded project. And then you won't have a job. So the best job security is engineering is knowing how to talk and tell stories. Y'all are like, really? Really? That is it. And when I run and think and talk and do something stressful like this, it's an amazing simulation for now I'm in front of a room with 100 people that are all arguing and having challenges with each other. And they don't know the right path forward. And I have to provide them with data and handle some really fiery questions. And there's a couple people I need to convince because they're wrong, but they have power and authority, right? Like doing these runs and talks and staying calm and telling stories, finding my breath work, it helps me in those situations speak succinctly, clearly, with poise, like a ballerina. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I walk it out for a little bit. Breathe. Recover. Still, talking while running must probably get you too exhausted. It accelerates it for sure, especially if I can't control breath work, or if I'm nervous about being on the live or what we're talking about, if I'm insecure about my body from like a form perspective, because I just want to run with good form. What projects are you working on right now? Well, I'm kind of in this mixed bag season of life. I worked for J&J for a decade, made a strategic exit, went all in on entrepreneurship in Tokyo, doing brand management, consulting startups, and community building. Too many ventures, too many rabbits in parallel. And we failed at that. Our revenue did not exceed our burn rate because it's really expensive to live in Japan, especially if you have kids that need international schooling. So we hit zero in a foreign country. It's an area where a lot of folks don't have the privilege of building a business on their own in a foreign country with 4 kids and failing at it and figuring out, well, what do we do now? My God. So within 20 days, we were able to pull our kids out of international school, get some of our deposit back, and we did all this with no savings. We did it with debt. And then we internationally shipped all of our goods across the Pacific Ocean. And now we live in Chicago with family. We're in a full life reset. So I'm looking for global leadership opportunities, either in consulting, which is kind of where the most opportunity seems to be for me, or in medtech in like director level roles. But one of the challenges is my wife's working part-time and she likes her job, and I still got a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old at home. So now I'm in this like full-time stay-at-home dad mode, but I need to also go win bread. So I've been doing entrepreneurship in parallel, going all in on community on a platform called School. So I have a free community that helps engineers, global leaders, and entrepreneurs find their way. And that's been going really well. We're up to almost 70 members now, providing value to them. So I have this really interesting methodology of like career growth and progression and figuring out what you want to be when you grow up, called Find Your Next. So I take people through an assessment where they can look at 3 dimensions of their life. The first of which is like how undefined their life feels compared to like how bounded. What I mean by that, people think bounded and they're like, oh, why would I want a bounded problem? Well, in engineering, like you have to bound or constrain the problem you're trying to solve. By the way, we're gonna walk out the rest of this because that's what we're going to do. You have to bound and constrain the problem you're trying to solve. And if you don't have all the pieces to solve it, then it's unconstrained and it's too difficult. So a lot of times people are immobilized. They're paralyzed because they don't know what to do, what pieces they have control over. And then the second dimension I help people with is like you're often like given this track your life should follow. Like if you're a math and science kid, then go and be an engineer, and you pick a track like mechanical engineering like I did. And then you just follow the track, you go work at Caterpillar, and you just become good at engineer until you become more engineer. And then, well, how do I become a leader? Well, then that becomes complicated. And people hit these different walls where they don't know how to jump between tracks as their life grows. Like, unfortunately, companies are structured in a really constrained way that stifles potential, limits opportunities, and people get paid less because of it. So I help people understand like how disorienting their career entrepreneurial journey looks or feels versus how much clarity they have. And then the third assessment is looking at how isolating your career is versus how communal. And a lot of people navigate all these pain points and confusions in total isolation. And I will tell you, as someone who's worked in surgical robotics on huge platforms and huge technologies, nothing that changes the world is ever made in isolation by one person. Like, you have to work across the diverse giftings of large groups of people. So if you're trying to figure out your career and your life and you're doing it in complete isolation, there's just a lot of unknown unknowns. There's things you don't know that you don't know. And that's like the biggest danger, because it could unlock a pathway you didn't know was there, doing something you love, living where you want to live, getting paid equitably. And I think that's an area where like I didn't have community around me as I was navigating these huge boundary moments in my life, and it just crippled my potential. So those are the three dimensions I help people with that are trying to find their way. And then I take them through an assessment. They get a little like radar chart that shows their strength across those three dimensions. And then they post it in the community with their origin state, like where they are right now, their desired future state, like the life they want to build towards, why they want that change, and their fears. And then what's beautiful is it's not me, like members of the community read through these posts from all their diverse giftings and experiences and just nudge people along. Like it's a community of boosters. Right? Because there's actually, what people don't know is there's a continuum, there's an arc from engineer into global leader and into entrepreneurship. And some people might have a heart for entrepreneurship, but they don't have a technical base. So that's not really set up for success necessarily. I mean, anyone could be successful in business. But there's definitely some technical gaps you want to fill. Some folks may have a heart that wants to lead, but they don't have a mentor or proximity to people that have done it before. And a lot of times in industry, you have to demonstrate technical depth before they will pay you to lead technical people, unless you get into a startup. And then in startups, that's a whole nother world. Like finding founders that actually make money at their business, it's a lot harder than you think. And I'm not even talking about like crazy founders that go out and raise a whole bunch of VC, like Sam Altman. Like, find someone in your league that's trying to create a consulting business, a coaching business. They want to start buying laundry mats. Like, there's all kinds of ways to make money in the world. And if you find one of those ways and you're the one that does it, like you create the model to create money a certain way, you're an entrepreneur. Whether you do it yourself or you hire people and get capital, like a location to run it. So I like to help people navigate learning curves across that continuum. And I do that all in my community, which is fun. But yeah, excellent question, Nimbupani. Much appreciated. We are wrapping up this run today. We hit our cardio cliff. And we're in recovery mode, and we don't feel bad about it. We did just about I think we're at 2.5 miles today. I haven't even been tracking distance. That's one of the problems. Step my feet, do a deadlift. I can tell my form, I'm a little loose in the cage today. So I'm doing some deadlifts to kind of find the squeeze. But we're a little loose in the cage, we're a little wobbly. Form's not perfect, and it doesn't need to be. But today wasn't necessarily a perfect run, but you know what it was? It was a run. Someday we'll do our last run and we'll die. But it's just another day. It's like eating a meal. And a lot of times we can get too preoccupied with making a given run perfect. And if you are trying to find perfection in everything, you will land at imperfection at nothing. Like, you'll just be paralyzed. So I'm really happy we were able to get to bed a little sooner last night, woke up a little earlier. We did a couple DMs for school, SKOOL. I'm not a student, I'm an adult with children. A student of life. And we came out here and we did our 2 miles. And I'm gonna celebrate the running that I did do. And then we just got gassed. So it gives us an area to improve upon. I've been mindful that I'm eating a bit more than I desire. Like, I'm eating out of stress, insecurity, and I know that doesn't help me in my goals. And I know it doesn't make me feel fueled. So I'm trying to figure out like subtle ways to get out of some bad habits and trick my brain into doing what's actually best for it. I should probably stay back here because that train's really loud. But I got stuff to do, so I'm going to keep walking. Yeah. Could I have kept running and wheezing? Could I run right now? Yes. But I'm not going to. And I would like to still get credit that we've been out on our feet moving for 37 minutes and 32 seconds. That's great. And it's more than 0. That's also great. Alright, let's get another deadlift. Hopefully this train will pass. Woo! Nice spinal twisties. Gotta get the peaches. My recalibrating move. Wanna see the train? You like trains? Wow. There it goes. That's a good one. Welcome to Train Talk, where we watch trains. We had to run for 37 minutes in order to catch this butte. Look at it. So majestic, just doing its train thing. It's like made out of a whole bunch of steel, and it's carrying a whole bunch of stuff for America. Likely imported from other countries. Probably has some coal on it. Keep America's power plants powering. Yeah, welcome to Train Talk, everybody. Choo choo. Like and share this with all your friends that like trains. Alright, that's the end of Train Talk. Time to get back to me. Was that a dig? I feel like that was a little bit of a dig on people that like trains. Meh! Why aren't you at work? It's like 6:30 in the morning. And I just put in the work. We ran for 39 minutes. Well, not the full time, but we did some interval training, and we're doing some walk and talk cool down in the lovely town of Chicago, because I don't share where I live. I mean, if people work really, really hard at it, they can figure it out. There's that one guy that he knows the entire Google map and can find perfectly accurate places in seconds based on grass. Oh my God, I love him. That brain, how does he do it? People train for that. They just dedicate their lives to knowing grass on the globe and competing. is incredible. It is absolutely incredible. I love it. I think it's like one of the best things you could possibly do with your life. I don't even mean that sarcastically. That is like a complete tip your hat to someone who decided that's my thing. I'm going to be great at it. Better than everyone else. Would you ever move to Detroit? I hear it's very diverse. I mean, those are two different statements. Well, I mean, they're both questions, but they're both saying different things. Like, Detroit as a city, there's debate on whether Detroit's coming back or not. Like, some seasons, like, there's news of like bears are starting to like re-migrate into the city. But automotive, that's a hard sell for me, just because it's not a niche. Like, I don't walk past these trucks and cars and think like, oh man, you know how many horses they put in that engine? Like, optimizing that space is really tricky, and it's super saturated. And we don't think that way. Like, we don't think like, oh, there's so many brands. But what the problem with that is it's very hard to differentiate products and offerings and innovate, because the competition is so saturated. So the margins on cars, even though for us we're like, oh my God, it's $35,000 for this car, right? The margins, sometimes they're selling cars at losses off the lot just because they make more money off of the repair shop and those parts in charging for them. So like, it's a really hard design space. It's not necessarily an industry that I would want to lead in. MedTech is kind of my bread and butter. Like, I'm really good at triangulating a customer, like a user, like a patient's unmet need or a surgeon's unmet need, technical feasibility, like what technology exists in these spaces that we could develop towards that need, how do we get through regulatory, and then commercial viability. Like, is there actually a bona fide market to sell this to these clinicians to solve this problem? Because the payer system in healthcare is really challenging to navigate. Those are the things that kill projects, and I'm getting faster at being able to triangulate that. I did a lot of it in Japan, and it's good work. So that would kill Detroit for me, just because I don't think it makes sense for my giftings there. The diversity language, like, I love diversity. Diversity is great. I've actually been surprised our return path to Chicago, like where I'm from, has changed dramatically in a more diverse way. And I actually think that's cool. I think it's beautiful. So I'm sure that's a very charming aspect of Chicago, or not Chicago, of Detroit. So again, that's how I segmented your two questions, friend. Oh, meh. Meh, I appreciate you. It's one of my favorite memes. Not memes, emojis. Do you see us unlocking the secrets of cold fusion within our lifetime? I am not an expert on cold fusion. That is the extent of my answer. Like, the best engineers are the ones that will happily tell you, I don't know. And I am the best. And the reason I say that, like, how am I to know? Like, if I dedicated my life to cold fusion and knew the ins and outs of that technology, then I would probably know what is or what is not possible in those spaces. And then I could just give you a clear answer of like, oh yeah, within the next 15 years, I think we could unlock it. The physics it's possible. We just haven't made this advance yet. Once we figure out this unknown, then we can figure out that unknown, and then cold fusion unlocked. Boop, right? I don't know. But if you want to ask me, like, would autonomous robotic surgery be possible within our generation? Yes. I think it's 100% possible. It's just a matter of getting clinicians to feel comfortable, like, submitting to pushing a button and letting the system cut out cancer in your stomach, right? Like, it's just the proof and the regulatory and the perception around it. That technology is possible. It's just a matter of when. Like, I don't know cold fusion.
I would not move to Detroit. I know a company in Germany got positive results on fusion for a few seconds. Okay. Did they commercialize it? Does it scale well? Are they making money yet? These are all the things we have to figure out, friend. Sleepy. It's a good sleepy morning. We're just catching the sunrise. It's beautiful. Everyone's waking up and starting their day, popping out of bed and saying, hey, let's make it a great day. I don't know why that rhymes the way it did. You could hang out with me for a second. I got to figure out what time it is. We gotta go wake up our kids. I have a key in my back pocket and it hurts my butt, so give me a second. Well, welcome, friends. We got some new ones today. And propylene. Have you ever read philosophy like the ancient Greeks or Germans? Yes. I studied AP European history as well. So that was always interesting. Oh no, my pants got snagged. Crap. All right, I'm going to pop you out of the gimbal. You're going to look at the ceiling for a minute. It's going to be fine, all right? Just pretend you're at the dentist. All right, open your mouth wide. Say, there we go. What time is it? 6:41. We got a couple minutes. But yeah, what ancient readings have you enjoyed the most? Are you a stoic? Or a hedonist? I think those are the big two, right? Let's turn off Bluetooth for a minute. Alright, let's click on this button, turn on my car. I love Marcus Aurelius! Excellent! Propylene. Well, hey friends. I deeply appreciate all of you, but I have to go be a father. I got 4 kids, and I need to feed them. You want to know the choices for breakfast today? What's your Myers-Briggs type? I'm an INFJ, foreseer and visioneer. But I got 4 kids, and the choices for breakfast today will be Cheerios with milk, Chex with milk, or a bagel with cream cheese. All the like high carb, high sugar they need to start their day. And then for me, I'll intermittently fast because I'm a G. That's my plan. Someday maybe they'll fast like me when they're a little bigger. You definitely struck me as an INFJ. Well, hey, thank you for stereotyping me. I really appreciate that. It's nice fitting within the constraints and boxes you perceive me to fit. Humans make judgments, and that's okay. Feeling super pedantic today. But yeah, anyway, I gotta be a dad. If you haven't subscribed, that's okay, because I don't need the world to follow me, but I do put a lot of work into my content. There's a lot of shorts. There's a podcast where I run and talk about engineering, entrepreneurship, global leadership, and raising kids, as well as living internationally between Japan and Chicago. So if you want to binge that content, it might be helpful while I'm gone. The other thing, there's a link in the description below if you want to hang out with me on School. YouTube doesn't allow any DMs, right? But on School, people that join my community, I become personally invested in their journey towards finding their next, regardless of where they are in the journey. So if that's of interest to you, School also tells you the types, the Myers-Briggs types, which is funny, even though you know it already. Like, you can declare, like, I'm an INFJ, and let everyone know what I am. I don't even look at it. It's just funny. But yeah, I hang out there. There's a link in the description for that. And overall, propylene and meh. Appreciate you. I'll see you on the next one. Keep changing the world, all right, friends? Later.